welcome back to Disrupt Your Norm. My name is Naomi Dunn, your host, and today I'm speaking on how silence can bring the loudest results. The three main things I'll be focusing on today will be success, healing, and teaching others. So let's begin. So, success. How does silence improve our success? Well, this especially relates to success in an area that is considered a large goal. It's considered something that is difficult to do, or it's considered something that most people don't even try to do, or they do try and they fail. If you're trying to succeed in an area that falls under one of those categories, then silence can be your best friend. And here's why. When we're loud about our goals, when we are loud about our desires, when we are loud about the things we want to achieve, when they seem unachievable to some people but not to you, we can have a lot of faith in ourselves. And that's really important. It's actually essential to have faith in your capabilities and seeing how it could be possible for you before you even begin, because that will motivate you to keep doing the steps to get there. If we're loud about it, if we are telling everybody about it, there will be skeptics. There will be those who doubt you. There will be those who don't have the faith in you that you have in yourself. And what happens when we repeatedly hear other people's opinions, even if we don't hear the words, we can tell with their demeanor. We hear their opinions, we can tell with their demeanor they don't have that faith, okay? Advice can be amazing, but if the advice has a tone that's saying, I don't know if this is possible for you, comments like those and being around people with that demeanor and being around people who don't have that same level of faith in yourself as you do will bring you down and will make it harder to reach that success, because you will have to work through the words that they're saying in your mind on your journey rather than just continuing on the journey. You have roadblocks. When people are discouraging you, there's extra roadblocks. So this is especially important with big goals. This could possibly lead to you getting behind. Now, it's not that you shouldn't share it with everybody. And some people say, have silence on your road to success so people don't steal your ideas. I'm not for that. If your idea is for you, then it's for you and you can go out and achieve it and you can do it well. And other people may do it, but if you really believe that this idea was for you, is a part of your purpose, then go out and achieve it and you can tell other people about it. But telling people who do not have the same mindset as you will discourage you and will possibly create setbacks on the journey. You can work through the setbacks, you can do inner work around the setbacks, but at the end of the day, they're still setbacks. And it's so much better to have that consistent faith in yourself, because that alone is hard. That alone takes resilience. We need to consistently try to keep that faith in ourselves. And that can be so tough that we don't have time for other people's doubt in ourselves. We don't have time for other people's comments that aren't encouraging but discouraging, even though they think it's encouraging. You don't have time for it. But if you want to share it, you need to share it with people who are like-minded, who have succeeded in the area, and who also dream big, okay? These are the types of people you can share it with. If not, you're wasting your time, you're creating setbacks, and you're making the journey harder for yourself. All right. Number 2, how does emotional healing require silence? Emotional healing, or healing in general, often requires silence because we need to be silent with ourselves. We need to sit with ourselves. We need to figure out what is going on with ourselves. Yes, we can talk and work through it, but at the end of the day, the body knows what the body needs, and the body knows what's going on inside. But how can we know what's going on inside if we don't actually listen to the body? So what I mean by this is when we sit with ourselves and when we sit with the physical pains in the body, they are indicators towards what emotional problems may be going on. When we sit with ourselves instead of distracting 24/7 and just be silent for a moment and just ask yourself, is my body doing okay? Is my mind doing okay? What is really going on? If we sit with ourselves and say, okay, I'm feeling this emotion right now. I know it's a sad emotion. I know it's an angry emotion, but what really is it? What is the actual definition of it? Is it loneliness? Is it boredom? Is it despair? Is it disappointment? What am I really feeling right now? And until we do those things, if we do not, Then we continue our day with them. Sitting with yourself in silence creates the loudest results in emotional healing because it's the first step. How can we really know what's going on if we don't even ask ourselves, if we don't take the time to ask ourselves the emotion that we're feeling, what's really going on with our bodies? If we're just constantly searching for dopamine, if we're just constantly searching for distraction and feeling good, then we're getting temporary pleasure. But then what's happening with the emotions that aren't being released in the background? They stay in the body, they're creating problems in the body, and they're also creating you to do things in your life that you don't want to do. Act a certain way in relationships, be a certain way in public, feel a certain way when you don't want to, have a tiredness when you don't want to, things like that. So that's why it's really important, and it is essential. You can't do the healing without the silence. So that's why it really does bring the loudest results. And when we sit with ourselves, you get answers that you often wouldn't expect. And no, I'm not saying you have to get into this huge meditative state and you have to meditate I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is get rid of distractions and allow for silence in your life, allow for silence in your walks, allow for silence in your morning routine, allow for a lack of distraction and just a time to do nothing, to ask yourself what's really going on. And you can breathe into your body to relax it, and once you do, you start to feel a little more of the sensations that are coming up, maybe the pains that are coming up, maybe the sadness that could be there the whole time, but you're not feeling it until you actually sit and relax and be with yourself. So that's what I mean by silence can bring the loudest results in emotional healing. All right. Then we have number 3, which is silence brings the loudest results when it comes to teaching others. Why is this? If we are constantly talking about how, well, I'm relating a lot to inner work here if you're trying to teach others about inner work, or if you're really just trying to teach others about anything, the best way to teach somebody is to be it yourself. And nobody wants to learn from somebody who has not embodied the information that they are teaching. So if you're silent, instead of saying the words you're trying to teach somebody, why don't you live it? And why don't you live it well and just focus on that? And you'll find that when you were trying to teach things beforehand and you were really trying to get people to understand the words you were saying and you really wanted the best for them, so that you thought the best for them would actually be telling them the words continuously, but then you find yourself frustrated because they're not changing. If you shift your focus from that to just focusing on how you can embody the information more, how you can apply it more, how you can live it, breathe it, be it, then you'll find oftentimes those people who may not have been listening before start coming to you and saying, "Hey, I notice that you're succeeding in that area. Hey, I notice you're happier. Hey, I notice you look more lively, how you seem more peaceful. I notice you've been calmer." When they can notice it in you just because you're being it, that's when people are interested in what you have to say. People are not interested in what you have to say unless you are being it yourself. People can sense fakeness and people can sense when the information you're telling isn't embodied by yourself. So we have to do it with ourselves first, and especially if it's your goal to help them, to change them. And sometimes we do have to initiate the conversations and speak on it, but make sure you've embodied it first and you live it and breathe it, and that the results that you are desiring for them, you have experienced yourself, so that you can say, yes, this is what I have done, this is what I'm going through, and this is what I'm experiencing now because of it. And when they can see that with their eyes, then people are a lot more willing to listen. And I say this for their benefit, of course, but also to yours, because I understand how frustrating it can be when you just want to help everybody. I am a knowledge fanatic. I'm constantly learning. I'm walking and I'm learning. I'm doing my morning routine and I'm learning. I'm going to bed and I'm learning. I just love learning. I love getting new knowledge, especially around inner work. And so I want to share it with everybody, especially when I can see something I've learned in somebody else and I'm seeing how it's affecting their life negatively. I just want to scream out on the rooftop and say, hey, this is what you need to do. But people don't always want to hear that. People don't always want advice. And people honestly, a lot of the time, actually want to stay in their problem. So essentially what I'm saying in this third point is embody the information you're teaching, and your process of teaching will be a lot less frustrating and people will be a lot more eager to hear what you have to say. So you're benefiting yourself and them. So yeah. I hope that made sense. These are three areas that silence can bring the loudest results. Often we have this misconception that we need to be really loud about these three things because that's how we're going to succeed the best in them. But it's often the opposite that's true, and that's the case for these areas. So, yeah, thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate it. I will have a new episode on inner work coming out soon that I hope you enjoy, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.